everybody, welcome to Janie's Way. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Kim Mukti Nirjhara. She tells us about her journey of combining block and tantric healing and her newly released book, Confessions of a Tantric Block. Kim explains the importance of harmonizing masculine and feminine energy and how tantric healing can help people experience pleasure. As a bonus, it also provides simple tools for reconnecting with intuition. What a story! I want to welcome to Janie's Way, Kim Nirjhara. I'm so excited to talk with you, Kim. And for the listeners who never heard of you, don't know your story, can you please introduce yourself and tell me how everything started for you? I know it could be a long question, but I'm sure you do a great job by answering it.
Thank you so much, Jeannie. I just wanted to start by honoring the work that you do and your podcast and say hi to your listeners. It's a real treat to join you here today. So, very, very grateful for the invitation and the opportunity to introduce myself. So, my name is Kim. I'm a tantric lawyer. And what that means is that I've had a dual career, 35 years lawyer and a tantric healer. And I brought the two together during COVID when we weren't able to do much else except be online. So it was a perfect time it was actually the year before COVID I started to do it. So 2019, I started to work online. And it was incredible. It just really, really helped people in a much better way. So combining the skills is what I do. And I've just written a book about it called Confessions of a Tantric Lawyer, a unique guide to magnetize your magical life. And that's available on Amazon. And the Kindle version is only 99 cents, and the paperback is $14.95 for launch period only, special prices till the end of the month, till the end of January. So very, very excited to share that with you.
That's exciting. Yay. How long it took you to finally have your book out there for the readers? Was that a long journey for you?
I feel like I've been writing my whole life and wanted to do it for the longest time. And then I did a Write Your Book in a Week workshop at home with inspirational book writers last June. So I took a week off work, wrote most of it in a week, kept working a little bit while I was working full time, and then went to Bali for 2 months and finished the book, published it last month. And yeah, voila, I've been celebrating my launches just in Bali, Perth, and Adelaide just before Christmas.
Amazing. How's life over there? What's exciting there?
Yeah, it is really exciting. It suddenly made life a lot busier.
Hmm. How did you were able to combine? When did it started, and what kind of what was the event that triggered you to combine the two?
Thank you. Yeah, so my parents were, I guess, it was a lot driven by my mum who really initiated me in my journey. My stepdad, they were always into conscious communication. And when I was at uni, I was at law school. Mum left my stepdad and went to Sydney to do all this different kinds of natural therapies that I thought were off the planet. And eventually I realized that they were a lot better for my health, that I was overworking. I was, doing all the things that, teens and young adults do, kind of work hard, play hard lifestyle. And I was getting burnt out. And I had these cycles of kind of where I'd just get sick and I'd be on, like all these products from the chemist and the doctor. And she just showed me that there was another way. So I started my journey in my 20s. I started to do like rebirther breathwork journeys, raising my energy, getting my third eye open, and gradually got off all the pharma stuff and never looked back. Like just became really healthy because I was quite sick as a baby. I nearly died. And as a young adult, so lots and lots of antibiotics. So it really, really helped me get my health together. And that got me really curious. And then I was offered a partnership in a law firm. I realized actually that I needed to upskill to better deal with the clients that I was having in the stressful situations of doing, all the things. I was doing criminal law, family law, motor vehicle accidents, wills, like all the, usual things that a suburban lawyer does. And people were really stressed, and especially the legal aid clients, the ones on, government support, low income, that kind of thing. It was like out of my comfort zone to start with. So I just started in my 20s. I started to upskill psychology, counseling. I became a lifeline counselor, and then other modalities, Reiki, massage, rebirthing. Then I went to the UK when I was 30, and I did a 3-year School of Energy Healing teacher training. And I taught at that for 3 years. And Tantra was one of the subjects that we learnt on that. And it was really revolutionary for me. When I left and graduated, actually, it was in my year of teacher training. So it was in my 4th year. I started to see one on one a tantric journey therapist in London. And that just opened my eyes. I've always been multiply orgasmic, like since I was a child. I believe it's a skill that I just brought in, and my parents were very open, but I'd never experienced like female ejaculation. And I also felt that there was more that I could experience to harmonize, the female energy with the men's. So I realized that there was a lot to learn in that area. So I started going for sessions, and then the practitioner, Mal, was like, well, you've got the skills. There's a need for practitioners in this area. So he trains me one on one. And I just practiced on a few friends, and it was actually coming back from a trip to Egypt that I got to know the world champion freediver for breath holding in England at the time on the plane, and he had heard of me and wanted to learn, and said he offered to set up a website. So that's kind of where it all started.
Mhm. How old are you when you that started? When he set up the website?
So I was 34.
Okay.
Yeah, so
And
that was 20 years, just 21 years ago.
okay. Well, for people that really don't understand what tantric means, can you kind
I
of
can
clarify?
exactly, absolutely. It's very understood. People think it means just sex, and actually it comes from an ancient, India and China, these practices, and it means to expand our energy and to weave different parts of ourselves together, like our mind and body with our emotions, our soul and spirit and our energy, that kind of thing.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people do think when you say tantric that you talk about sex, but this isn't more about sensuality and your than sex.
Absolutely. So it includes all the things. Like basically what I found is that in the Western world, and I think in the world generally, we're more resistant to pain, like we're more resistant to pleasure than pain. Like pain and violence is very normalized. A lot of people are just in survival mode, despite the apparently more affluent standard of living than we've ever had. So these techniques, it's kind of like weaving together. I'm not sure how much of it was known by ancient cultures, perhaps a lot of it by some, perhaps none of it by others. It's one of those like things that where did it come from? You can spend a lot of time talking about that, but I just was fascinated. I felt it really helped me, it helped my clients, and I started to run with it, and I got a lot of support. I got a lot of interest in my communities, and just from having one website, I was able to give up law for a few years and
Mm.
just work as a tantric healer in London, in Bristol and Bath in the UK. Yeah.
That's interesting. But then the tantric word in itself may be miscommunicated and misinterpreted by a lot of people. But then when you add lawyer to tantric, I looked at that myself initially. I was like, scratched my head. Said, what in the world does that mean?
Exactly. So that is actually what I am. I'm an alchemist, and I weave opposite worlds together. So when I got back to Australia, it just easier for me to, like, I feel like a lot of these things like tantric healing, they're more known about in places like London. But when I got back to my home state, my home city, there was not a lot of understanding. I didn't know any other tantric practitioners. I felt quite, kind of shy in setting up a practice. And I think by that time I'd been doing a lot of Vipassana meditation, which is a slightly different spiritual path. So I sort of put it on hold for a couple of years, and then I came back to it because I started to feel just really blocked in my own energy when I wasn't working with it in the way that I was in the UK. So I retrained with the same practitioner in Thailand and then set up another business which I ran from the city that I was living in, and I was also working as a lawyer part-time. So it worked perfectly with my lifestyle, and it was very successful. I had a lot of clients from all walks of life. Obviously, the clients that were the ones that like would embody the practices and do the home play exercises that I suggested, had time to read the things that I suggested that would help them, made the most significant and lasting changes. But the most striking examples were people who completely transformed their lives. Like they would come to me broken, depressed, sick, overweight, with numerous issues like maybe premature ejaculation or inability to orgasm for women, like really debilitating problems that they couldn't really get help from in any other place. And I saw them just come to life, get their energy back, get their love in their relationships. And, it's connected to our finances as well,
Mm.
because the more we can receive in terms of pleasure and abundance, it's like this is just energy and we can activate it to manifest through the orgasmic energy. We can picture whatever we want as a desired result, and we can change those limiting beliefs through the orgasmic energy and through releasing those negative beliefs and programs from the past. So that's the wonderful thing about it. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to take medication for the rest of your life. You don't have to feel like that diagnosis that you get from the doctor to say that you will be sick forever. Like if obviously it doesn't work for everyone. It's not for everyone. I wouldn't say it's a it's a magic pill by any means. It does
It's not really.
work. Look, I can get any person into a session, and if they're willing to breathe, willing to move, and willing to, receive touch, even if it's self-touch over a Zoom call, they will experience a change in their state, and that will
Mm,
last for some time. And this is something that we're all capable of.
mm,
So it's relaxing, it's ecstatic, it's all the things.
mm,
And it does unpack all the things that all the terrible things that have happened to us in the past that we try and put in a box and
mm.
no one likes to talk about or deal with. You can deal with it at your own pace. You don't have to be re-traumatized by it. You can just gently breathe it out through the pleasure that's experienced with the breath work. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful work. I love it.
Kim, what do you seen from your practice was the biggest contributing factor that you feel like causing that for people not being able to experience pleasure?
Yeah, so this is a particularly big one for women, I find, and for men who suffer from premature ejaculation. And I've had just as many men with body issues as women. So, we both sexes suffer from that. So it's about regaining our health, regaining our self-confidence, just through allowing in, first of all, some connection, and that's can be just eye contact, just starting to breathe together, starting to be willing to talk about what's going on with inside. And a lot of people actually don't really know, like a lot of particularly women I meet, say that they don't actually experience a lot of pleasure, and it's a bit of a chore. And a lot of people take alcohol to be able to, or drugs to be able to engage in intimacy, to deal with the kind of issues that come up. It's very difficult and confronting. So it's a gradual process. Like, you can get extreme results from one session, and also lasting results, in my experience, take time. So if you're willing to put in the work to show up for sessions, to do a little bit of home play, and to consider that perhaps your life could be different, then it could be for you.
Mm. How long the session lasts, and do they have to? Are you helping them to get in a meditative state in order to be able to?
Yeah, so every session's different. They're all kind of niched for my clients. So I have a magic box of tips and tricks, and and I really do work shamanically, which means that I tune into the client beforehand. I try and get to know a little bit about them. So establish a connection, find out what it is that they're wanting, what they're suffering from, what they'd like to achieve. And then, like, I guess my session yesterday, I wasn't too sure what would happen, and I thought we might do a manifestation clear. But what actually happened was we ended up doing a Kundalini meditation, which is like to music, shaking, going to quite ecstatic music, just shaking like this, dancing. And I was just channeling words as it was coming, like to gradually, release tension and expand the heart, and just aligning the spine as well, just to sort of stand up a bit straight. A lot of energy gets blocked around the pelvis and the hips and the belly. We hold a lot in our bellies. They're a particularly vulnerable area, and this is a whole area that's not covered by by Western massage practitioners. It's actively avoided, and perhaps it's because of the fear of sexual arousal in
Mhm.
men, which is a common thing. And there is a lot going on in our bellies. Like, there's a whole, the Taoist Chinese practices are really designed for the belly, for the genitals, to help detoxify. So coming back to my session, it was shamanic. There was breath work. It was just channeled with a beautiful recording that I had, and then my client journaled and wrote some stuff and got so many insights into her business, which she's trying to sell. So she came because she wanted to know about her business. She wanted some guidance. She's wanting to let it go. Now, it was her dream business, and now that has changed. And she wanted to manifest more wealth and abundance. So through the session, I was able to see exactly where her superpowers were and identify them, identify that she can charge a lot more money for her gifts that she was telling me about in the session. And we did some work around attracting the right buyer for her business. So it's really weaving all the worlds together, Jeannie, and
Mm.
that's why I love it so much. It's so applicable to hopefully some of your listeners who are struggling with some of the things that I've been talking about, and perhaps are struggling financially as well.
Mm. That's interesting that what she came to you was for a business issue, basically.
Yeah, she had read my book, and she knew that she read it in one sitting,
Mm.
and she knew that she really wanted to learn more. So this was a second session after I do, short intro sessions, just tasters, where or online, and I'm opening these up for free now. So they will be available for your viewers, just to see if it's for you or not, because I know it's not for everyone. And in that session, if it does feel like it's for you, we can talk about your needs, and we can book something in the diary.
Mm. So what kind of things they could be just about anything? Because initially,
Absolutely.
mm,
Absolutely. Just about anything. I've worked with clients from all walks of life and in all sorts of problems, and everything is connected. So if you have a blockage with your sexual energy and your health, or your life might be out of balance. You might be prioritizing one area of life over another. So one area is flourishing and another is really in a very poor state. So the session will help you to get that balance and reflect on what achievable, changes you can put in micro steps that will be a good foundation for you moving forward for better alignment.
so it sounds to me basically whatever the issue is you find where the blockage is and allowing the flow of the energy for the solution that needed for that particular
Absolutely.
issue.
Absolutely. I find it really helpful to work with whatever the most pressing issue is on the client's mind. So I had another client come to see me this week who had legal issues that she was reaching out to me about. She was wondering if she had a claim. And so we discussed that for a few minutes. And then the more I dug, the deeper we got. And then she was talking about some people that she fell out with and how this has happened before and how she's been, the victim of these kind of attacks. And then we went deeper and deeper. And I said, well, when was the first time you ever felt like that? And she said, oh, when I was a child all the time. And she was a child of a refugee, moved countries a lot. And so there was a lot to unpack there. So I was able to refer her to a really appropriate treatment provider that specializes in childhood PTSD and works with EMDR, which is the rapid eye movement. So I channel also what is the best step for the client moving forward. It may be to work with me. I've got a variety of packages and offers. I've got a lot of free material on YouTube on my channel, The Tantric Lawyer. And maybe not, maybe like this client, there was other referrals that I had for her. So I feel that the client's, goodwill is the highest priority. And I do put that over just trying to get that money for myself and trying to talk people into my programs. Although obviously, I want them to be full. I want them to be full with aligned people who I can help.
That's good. So, what was it you think was fascinating to you to get into tantric energy? It's basically tantric energy realignment, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's about really harmonizing the energies within ourselves. It's about that divine union that starts with us, our inner masculine and feminine that's so out of balance on the planet at the moment. So the feminine energy, and this may not be true of every woman, every woman embodies the masculine and feminine in a different mix and it will manifest differently, perhaps in different areas of my life. So for me personally, as a lawyer, I had a lot of kind of overactive masculine energy, which is quite common, that women who get, they call them femocrats in Australia, who get into high positions and become like very kind of tough and hard and, can be even more aggressive or bitchy than the men sometimes. And the men that tend to be closed off in their hearts, and that is true of women as well. But women, the heart energy can be a bit more accessible. So the feminine energy is a little bit more chaotic, it's spontaneous, and it flows. And the male energy is very directive, it's linear, it's about getting things done, A to B to C. Like, give me the steps, give me something practical to do and I'll do it. Like, that's your classic masculine energy. So how to harmonize the two is what tantric healing is all about, and tantra, like weaving those worlds. Like there is a war on the planet between the, men and women, the masculine and feminine. The Me Too movement really showed that, and domestic violence. I don't know about where you are, but in Australia, it's never been more all over the news than
Mm.
ever before. It's really out of the woodwork, out of the closet, new cases every day, shockingly crippling, and it's costing so much to people, to governments, to all the services that are trying to cope with it, and it's contributing to a lot of disharmony and disease. So tantric healing really addresses that, and having the legal skills as well really helps to make it grounded, to give it that masculine energy, that focus, that structure, and to make it really super practical, to know what a person needs, to be able to refer them to the right service. Like, I've been doing that for 35 years, Jeannie, as a lawyer, and about 25 as a, complementary therapist, practitioner, healer. So it is my superpower. It's something I've been doing for a long time, and as a tantric lawyer, I'm quite unique. So yeah, so often what happens is the male sexual energy starts quickly, and it burns out quickly. So men can get aroused in a trice by thinking about it, several times a day is very common. And there's a lot of shame around that as well for men. There's a lot of suppression, and that's often what causes the premature ejaculation, the dysfunction, is that they've got too much energy and it's difficult to know what to do with it, to channel it in a way that is appropriate and loving. And as women, we can take longer to get into our sexual energy. They say it's 40 minutes or something to really get into it. And men can orgasm in about 2 minutes or 1 minute, or straight away. So, and a lot of women just don't manage to achieve orgasms. I've had women telling me that touching the genitals just feels like, scratching the hand like that, or, it's just, there's nothing. It's numb. They're not feeling any sensation. So this is where these techniques are so helpful, just to wake up the sensation and harmonize the energy.
What are some of the simple tools without obviously touching the certain areas, or maybe for
Absolutely.
for the mind?
Absolutely. Yeah. So super simple tools for the mind are breath. So breathing a bit more. None of us breathe enough. So we all hold our breath. So we're all quite tense,
Guilty as charged, especially if I get a little stressed. I forget to breathe sometimes. I'm like, I just need to breathe. Okay.
Yes, that happens to me too. It happens to all of us. And if you look at a baby, its breath, its belly goes up and down like this, always in motion. And babies belly breathe, and we lose that as we get older. We lose that. And the breath is the first. Just breathing correctly will change your life. Breathing more, putting on music, moving to music, enjoying the body, enjoying the moment. That is revolutionary in itself. Smiling, saying, laughing, or emoting. Yeah, without any touch at all. So the techniques are through breath is a really, really super important start. Yeah.
So it sounds like you have to, do a certain things that help your body get more oxygen and just to feel better, like dancing or any other, probably walking in the nature. I would presume.
Absolutely. I love walking in nature. I do it every day. It is so good for us. So being with nature, being with trees, barefoot on the ground, if it's possible in your environment. And even if you can't, even if you're in an apartment and you're just sitting on your bed, just to sit there and breathe a little more, or put on a music track while you're doing your housework or whatever you're doing is so helpful.
So Kim, it sounds like to me one of the biggest reasons we're getting blockage in our energy, because we don't take time to ourselves and slow down and enjoy the moment and relax. So even a couple of breaths, like you say, can change it.
Absolutely. So what happens when we don't breathe is we become quite numb and shut down. and it affects everything in the way we work. It affects how much pleasure we can experience. It affects our health. It actually, we all have the power to have a second sight, or intuition, clairvoyance, to know. It's how we know things. So the breathing helps open up our third eye, which is, this is the energy center. And often, usually that's quite blocked. We're born with it open and it gets shut down. Like we see, hear, know things as children that get drummed out of us by our parents with the best intentions, our teachers, etc.
Mm.
So, yeah.
But do you have a simple tool that we can start opening that up? Because I know it's probably not going to happen overnight. If you weren't you lost it for let's say 20 years, maybe like little simple things that you kind of get the awareness back there and just start little steps every day.
Yeah, so I mean, my third eye opened in my first breathwork journey. So I was lying on a bed and I was doing conscious connected breathing, and all of a
Ah,
sudden my
okay.
third eye opened in that session, and I started to see blue sky and green hills, and I just knew I had to move to the country from this job I had that was really crippling me, where I was overworked. I felt overworked, underpaid. I was working 6 days a week. The firm was very aggressive plaintiff law firm. They invented sex claims. So I was doing these sex claims as a young lawyer, and it was, they were very adversarial. I was arguing cases where the client was accused and found later to have made up the story. It was really intense,
Mm.
and it was a wonderful experience as well. And I just knew that there were other ways. I felt like I needed to have a better life, and that one session opened up my third eye and my vision. So it
Mm.
is possible for it to happen in one session.
Mm. Oh, you refer that in that session you were able to connect to your conscious breathing. What is really conscious breathing? How do you really connect on you connected?
So it's just, this is what I did with my client yesterday. Just breathing deeply in and out. There's so many ways to do it, in through the nose, out through the mouth, or in and out through the nose. As long as you're doing it, it's all good. There's different, yeah, that's the main, that I would say that that's a really good start, just to know that you're not crazy if you feel like you do have this intuition open, or if you'd like it to be open. It's absolutely possible for anyone who really wants to.
And you just know when it's open, you just feel different.
Absolutely, yeah. So for everyone, it's like they perceive it differently. When I say I saw it like on a mind screen,
Mm.
and every some like it's that knowing we get. I don't know if you've ever had the feeling that you just know when it's going to be a good day or a bad day, or who might be trying to contact you. You just get a little sensation where a loved one might be in trouble. You just have a feeling. It's that feeling in your bones that
Mm.
we trust and perhaps aren't even aware of it. And the tantric work, being a tantric lawyer, really helps to, I guess, validate people. It reassures them that there's nothing wrong with them. Some people think they're going crazy, that their patterns are all bad and wrong, and so are they, and they're really messed up. And the session helps to just reassure them that there is nothing wrong with them,
Mm.
yeah, and that's what's so beautiful about it.
Mm.
It's more letting go of all these incorrect limiting beliefs and
Mm.
patterning from the past is
Mm.
the key. Being willing to let those go and just breathing in pure life force energy and setting your intention. I'm breathing in abundance. I'm breathing in love. I'm breathing in joy. I'm breathing in forgiveness. I forgive all those who hurt me. And just, you can say these things to yourself as you're breathing. I let go of poverty consciousness, of stuckness, of whatever it is you need to let go of. You don't even need to know. You can name it if you want, and you don't have to.
Mm. It's more like getting back to yourself with whatever tools works for you, sounds like to me, and using some of the certain affirmations with the
Yes,
certain breaths. And it's just kind of it's almost like retuning yourself. I'm just trying to clarify for people that will try on their own and say, okay, well, I need more help. And then they have, can read your book or contact you, however. I just wanted to clarify what it sounds like to me, what makes sense. Like you get in the moment of trying to say, okay, I'm at peace. I want to get kind of starting to feel better, and kind of whatever the affirmations you can tell to help you get there. My
absolutely, Jeannie. Absolutely. You're spot on with that.
and
Yeah, that
my question was that why do you feel like we're so disconnected with our breathing and our intuition? What happens there?
good question. So this is a rabbit hole that I won't spend too long on. I do talk about it in my book.
Okay.
There's obviously big money in people being powerless, and the pharmaceutical, big pharma, all of that, big tech, big government, big, military industrial complex is making bucket loads on low self-esteem.
No way, really? Oh, I have not noticed any of that. Maybe okay, that's I kind of know that, myself, like you combine your attorney experience with tantric law and tantric healing. I am a registered nurse by trade, and I combine that with entrepreneurial and coaching experiences.
Perfect. Yeah.
So that's one of the other thing was curiosity for me, how you combine it and how you kind of blended two areas, and that was very fascinating to me. And
Yes. So I've had some pretty high profile or corporate clients, and I feel that me being a lawyer as well has perhaps helped them feel a little bit more comfortable with me. I was able to direct them to scholarly research or, well-written articles where they really wanted to know stuff about whatever it is they were asking. And yeah, so I feel like everyone is attracted to the person with the energy that has something that they need. And I guess also because I was brought up in Australia, very outdoorsy. I like to combine routines like we've talked about being in nature. I do hot cold showers, which are fantastic for the energy, where the cold water, especially if it's a cold, really cold day, you can start with warm water because I know it's your winter. So I would start with warm water and get really warm. But if you feel like a little energy boost, you can just finish with a bit of cold water. Or if you want to try a bit more hardcore, you can go hot, for give yourself a bit of a immersion and then cold and then hot and then cold. Mix it up, see how it works. I do cold water swimming all year round. Having said that, it doesn't snow in most of Australia, so yeah, our cold is not like the Northern Hemisphere cold, but it's still, like a lot of probably most Australians don't swim in winter, they avoid it. And that's when it's actually really, it's very therapeutic. It's really good for depression, for not getting enough, the SAD syndrome, they call it, where you don't get enough seasonal affective disorder. You're not getting enough sunshine. You're not getting enough endorphins. You're not getting enough life force energy. So these practices are very, very helpful.
mm. So how long in the cold water and how long in the hot? Or is it different for each person depending their tolerance of the hot and the cold?
Yeah, I think so. I would say start with what feels right for you. When I started doing it, my teacher would suggest that if it was really cold, to warm up first and just to, like put put the cold water on and turn yourself around so you're getting nice cold water all over, and you're
Mm,
giving yourself a bit of a chill, and then put the hot back on.
mm,
I mean, I'm a bit hardcore, so I do like ice baths and things like that as well
mm.
whenever I get the chance.
You you're probably familiar with Wim Hof. He is about a lot about breathing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I actually met his brother in Perth and did a ice bath with him and his partner. So that was thrilling. And the other opposite is saunas. So rebirthing was actually born in a sauna in America. I think it was in the 60s because of the like the panting. So anything that's hot, any kind of saunaing, sparring, hot baths. I used to do breath work in the bath very, very regularly. So yeah, whenever you get the chance, whatever you've got, whatever you're near, I would just suggest for people to make the most of wherever you are and what you feel like you can do.
Mm. So how was the experience with her brother? What you guys cold plunge or breath work?
Yeah, I actually went in a couple of times, and then I went in the sea, which was a lot warmer than the ice bath. It was a really nice turnout of people, and I met a couple of friends that I'm still in contact with to this day. And I had a chat to his partner and they were traveling, so I gave them suggestions for contacts to meet up with for where they were traveling to in New Zealand.
Cool.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was very cool.
yeah, it was fascinating what work he does. He's definitely legend with breathing and the cold plunges.
Yeah, I think his brother is a little, he was a bit softer, a little perhaps
Not so edgy.
not so military or, hardcore adventurer.
Yeah, Win is definitely hardcore. There is no.
Yeah.
Kim, what do you think about the cold does to our body and the breathing? Is it just waking up our energy or circulation or kind of both?
Everything. I think it wakes everything up, and there's a lot of scientific research on the net as well. You can read for hours about all the research that's been done.
How is that supposed to be daily practice, or is it maybe a couple of times a week will be good?
I think as often as you can do it is fantastic. Like we're not machines. That's the thing. So there's no one size fits all. That's why I really encourage people and my clients and everyone in my world to just, tune into your own intuition. And I have very strong intuition as well. But I never like to be the sort of practitioner. I'm not a guru. I don't want to be on a pedestal. We all have free will. The age of the guru is over, and the time now is for us to be in community, to all support each other and try and empower each other, because Earth's going through amazing changes at the moment. The systems and structures we've got are breaking down, they don't work. We're here to bring in new things that do work.
Oh, new things. If you're ready for a change or open minded or able to adapt, then you will love the new things. But we as human beings, as an adult, we most of us are so set in our own ways. So that's why I feel like trying new things, like not per se a whole cold plunge, but what we say 5 seconds cold shower to start with.
So
And
what I would do, Jeannie, if I may, is I would muscle test for you. So this is another really easy thing that you and your viewers can do, is learn how to trust your own higher self, your own intuition. So there's a sway test, which is no, is you standing straight? Does my body want this? No. Or yes, when it moves forward. So when you're looking at that big chocolate donut with all its icing and you say, yum, you ask your body, you just stop, you take a pause and say, body, do you really want this right now? And you breathe and you sit with it. So it's not about right, wrong, or prescriptions, blah, whatever. It's like if I have a person, I'll say, Jeannie, do I have permission to muscle test for you? How often and for how long should you do a cold shower? And another way is the fingers like this. So this is something called the spiral. The fingers are connected loosely. So yes is no break, and no is no break. So do I have permission to muscle test for you, Jeannie?
Yes.
Okay. So your question was, how often would a cold shower be beneficial?
Yes.
Okay, 1, 2. So one or 2 times a week
Mm.
is what they're saying to start with. And for how long should you be under cold water? So I would do it in increments of like 10 seconds, because I know it's like, really, how cold is it there for you now today? What's the weather like?
It's called cold rain. Cold rain in the 40s Fahrenheit. So.
Yeah. So 10, 20, maybe 20 seconds is what your would be a good start, max. But
Good.
don't, yeah, just see how you go. As soon as you go, I really can't handle this, it might make you sort of like yell and scream a little bit, and that's all good as well, and shiver. This is waking up the body, and then you can turn it back to hot, and it'll be amazing. And you'll go, oh, wow, I've just got a rush of energy. It's a boost of immune system. It speeds up the circulation. Like everything, it's like jump starting your car, or rebooting your computer. It's like a real power boost for the body.
Mm. That's interesting. Yeah, that's a good way to start the day.
Absolutely.
Uh, um, Kim, did you ever had a situation when you didn't know what you're doing at all? Probably early in your career, I would assume, but you got through it anyway. So how did you manage that?
Completely. I've had so many moments like that where I've thought, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Like, this is just hell, actually. Like, I talk about in my book when I was at a London law firm, and I was doing defendant personal injury work, and there was a death that the practice, like a death in the workplace. And there was so much excitement in the firm, because it would just mean lots and lots of money. And I just thought, this is wrong. Like, the values are all upside down. Like, how can people get so excited when someone has suffered and died? These families are grieving. Like, the values are just upside down. And that was, I think I handed in my resignation shortly after.
Mm. And never look back on that.
Yeah, it's not uncommon though, unfortunately. I wish it was, but it's not.
Mm. So you had your intuition, develop your intuition fairly early on in your life.
Yeah, so I think I had, when I was a child, I played with invisible friends. I had invisible, unseeable horses.
You were just weird, that's all.
Me and my sister both did. So, yeah, so we both had unseeable horses, dogs, boyfriends. They were all called the same name, but sometimes we swapped. And then I did actually date several people with those names. So that was super interesting. And then it became shut down when I had to start being glued to, the books, and try and get good marks, blah, 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 in high school, and uni. And then it started to open up again when I was in my, I guess, early to mid 20s.
Look, yeah, that's interesting. But some people may live into their way in their adulthood life and never had developed the intuition. What if one day they wake up and say, I want to work on it? Where should they start?
Well, I guess it's just acknowledging, and this is what I do with clients as well, is I do have clients coming to see me, and they go, oh, I just want to wake this up, and I just don't have any. And then what the session does is it helps them to access it by realizing how they have actually used it in the past. They just haven't realized it. So it
Interesting.
becomes more conscious. Exactly.
So I think what you're saying, like we are using it, we're just not aware of. If we're not currently using it, like right now when I'm speaking with you, most likely not, but I might, because I kind of have to tune into my energy. Ah, interesting. I just answered one question. How you know don't think I am using it, but wow, what an interesting discovery. But I kind of am, because I need to kind of feel the energy flowing and say, okay, where does that conversation needs to go? Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, you're totally using it, Jeannie.
Wow, okay. I had it kind of got me there for a surprise for a minute. How we don't realize that we're using it. It's just the awareness is not there. But we are. Ah, that's
Just what you told me before about what you do, how you help people with mindset marketing with money
mm-hmm,
and manifesting, and your background is being a registered nurse. Like, you bridge worlds as well and use intuition and
mm-hmm.
just probably don't even realize it.
Correct, because one of the stories, and I don't think I've said that for a long time ago, but it's kind of bringing the story back. When the first time I stepped on a step down cardiac floor, and I had a mentor right out of the graduating from the nursing school, and of course you terrified, like what are you gonna do if people in the emergency situation? Well, guess what he said. I said, well, how would I know what you do? In school, you just study the theory, but the practice comes with the practice. So I asked him,
Exactly.
how do I know? He said, you just know. And I'm like, what? And I did.
And I have just proved it to myself by reflecting on what I just told you before, which was that I woke up in my 20s. And it was actually way before that, because when I was a child, I would wish for a horse, for a pony, on every birthday, blowing out candles on every first star. And then I got one when I was 15 or 14. And then when I was going to uni, I was 17. I decided, right, I want to, I like the idea of meeting a doctor who would be quite smart and wealthy and good looking. And I met one that first night, of the orienteering week, and we dated for about 4 years.
Then the rest is history.
We didn't end up staying together. I'm a tantric lawyer, so I do relationships a bit differently. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm still kind of pondering what I said earlier, how we don't realize, but we're using our intuition just about every day. It's just basically we're not aware of it. And I was just kind of going back in my childhood, in my younger years, and I'm like, yeah, I've been using it. I am using it. And what I've discovered when we do something new, like in my case, like podcasting, right? That I would, you just have to, to me, being brave, and it's being able to just knowing. Intuition is knowing, and allow that knowing to guide your decisions and your conversations and your energy. So it kind of all sums up together, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's being aware of the body, because while you were talking, I scratched my nose. I noticed that. And the nose knows, right? The nose knows. The nose is, if our nose is blocked, our intuition is blocked. So the body is speaking to us all the time.
That's very interesting. Right before you said that, a few minutes before that, I scratched mine. Is that a coincidence? And here we are, how many miles away from each other?
But at an energy level, there is no separation. Our
Wow,
energy body,
profound.
exactly. Our energy bodies started to connect as soon as we connected online. So we started to probably talk in our astral realm, in our dream world or whatever. And it starts then. There's much more to life than just what we see in the physical 3D reality. Like, that's an illusion. It's there, like, basically the illusion is there for control. And it stops people from really waking up. And even, lawyers people in government. I've worked with high-flying lawyers, high-flying people in government and in the corporate world, and everyone uses it. And the more consciously they use it, often the more successful they are. Like, I've got a friend who, when I used to brief her as a barrister, like she only needed a very few potted like details from me over the phone, and she would tell me like what was going to happen in court, and she was always right. And I said, like, lawyers go through the motions of, oh, send me all the documents, and yes, sometimes you do need to look at all the fine print, but you just get a feel immediately for what might happen in a situation. And yeah, she was always right, and she's just been always highly successful because she really trusts. And the more we trust that power that we all have, the more successful we all are.
So that would be a very good lesson for entrepreneurs. They have to keep practicing to trust their intuition.
Absolutely. So I really recommend just following the next aligned step, like whatever that is, even if it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, just follow that next aligned step about the next thing that you need to do, and trust, really, really trust that and back yourself. And yeah.
How will you trust it in not allowing that negative voice in your head, those negative beliefs saying, oh, no, that's the wrong step, don't do that, you will fail? Well, failing, there's really no failing. That's a totally different subject altogether. But
Absolutely. So I say to that voice, thank you for sharing. And I hear you, and I hear that things were scary back then, and you couldn't trust there was like things happened. And you know what? My intuition is in the driver's seat now. You don't have to get out of the car. You can be in the passenger seat or the back. And thank you for sharing, but you don't have the steering wheel of my life.
you heard it here first on Jenny's Way from Kim. She's telling you, say thank you for sharing, but I'm gonna keep going. I love it. It's so I just love it because you don't have to push it under the carpet, so to speak. You don't have to feel bad about it. You don't get upset. I was like, okay, thanks. It's like it's almost the way you're treating it's almost like a friend that's trying to give you a feedback, but say, okay, I heard you, thank you, but I'm gonna keep going anyway. I love it.
It's like a child. If you're a parent, you've got a child and they're tantruming, you say, the healing response is, yes, I hear you. I hear you. Like, you're okay. You're okay. It's safe to feel that. It's safe to express that. And you know what? We're not going to do that thing that you want, which is your fourth chocolate bar. We're going to go and get some, some healthy food right now. And if you don't want it, that's fine. But that's what you're going to have next. So, or whatever it is.
You feel like sometimes that's what happens to the people when they're adult, is that inner child is kind of like it's like, I want a chocolate, oh, I don't want to get up, I don't want to make the those phone calls, those cold calls are driving me crazy, I'm going to fail. All of that is a kind of talk.
Yeah, and we all have, no matter how old and how mastered we get, we all have those voices. It just is about knowing that they're not in the driver's seat. And what I find is really helpful, like I am a Virgo, so I like to make lists, is to make lists before I go to bed when I get up in the morning. And I'll put the things that I really don't want to do. They stay on my list, but I'll get easy ones done first, and I'll tick them off and I'll go, yay.
So you get it, you start your day with small wins, right?
Exactly. I start my day with tuning into myself. I start my day with some breath, some movement, some sound, some just stretching, a bit of journaling. And yeah, if I really need to, I'll start it with tasks. If I really need to get stuff done, like there are times where there's nothing else. You just have to put on your big girl pants and you just have to do the things you really don't want to do.
I like the way you say, sometimes you just have to put your big girl's pants and just do it. And skip the breathing. You can do it later after the big task.
Yeah.
I feel like this could be a lesson for people. If you don't have a few minutes in the morning, whatever the big task you have to accomplish, then you can take a few minutes afterwards.
Exactly. Exactly.
I feel like
Balance.
rebalancing doesn't have to be immediately when you get up. It's probably preferable so you can set your day for success, but in some circumstances, like you mentioned, it could be, what if you accidentally overslept? What, there is a big task you have to accomplish, so if you can do it during the day.
Or maybe you've got dishes that you need to clear and you just need to clear your space before you actually feel like you can relax.
Or I'm glad you brought it up. What do you do? A certain things about your environment, like clearing the environment? Is there like a certain things that necessary in the environment so we don't have blockage of energy?
Absolutely. So I love decluttering. I love to I
I had a feeling.
minimalist. I'm fairly simple. Like in some ways I'm a bit of a, I'm a bit, what would you call it? I'm quite nomadic. I travel a lot. And because I love to travel and I love experiencing different environments, I choose not to accumulate too much.
Hmm.
So, therefore, it means traveling lightly. And the more we can take ourselves lightly, even if we've got homes, we've got a lot of things we love, we all accumulate stuff that perhaps we don't like or is lurking there in our purse or our handbag or our backpack or our suitcase or our cupboards that, perhaps we should just pass on to a new home. So,
Hmm.
doing that regularly, I find is the most important thing. And then beautifying my environment. I love to beautify it. I love to I love fresh flowers. I love uplifting cards, all kinds of things, whatever makes you feel good in your environment.
Hmm. Goes back to whatever makes you feel good, so you can make sure you don't get tans and block that energy.
Absolutely. Fresh air is fantastic,
Mhm.
even if it's cold.
Probably even a little bit better. Make sure our energy stir up even faster.
Exactly. And just trying new things, like trying new things, there's nothing more important for the brain. Like Joe Dispenza, he talks about rewiring the brain all the
Mm.
time and how even if it's as simple as putting on a different outfit, changing, mixing up your color scheme, taking a different route to work.
Brushing with the left hand because I'm righty. Uh,
Exactly. Doing things with your left hand if you're a righty. Absolutely.
mm, yeah. I love Joe Dispenza and his story. I have a couple of his book. A big fan. Like he rewiring your brain. It's like the way he explained it from metaphysical ways. There's a science behind it.
Absolutely.
And trying new things is good for our brain. Yeah. I'm doing my best to try new things. Like the other day, we camped in the cold, and everybody looked at me. It was cold. Like it went down to 35 degrees initially. And that's another thing. Like we might not think we can do things, but if you try, you might even like it. Now, if it gotten any colder, I probably wouldn't like it. It was cold enough. So that kind of, it seems like it brought the awareness back to I can do it. So now I've tried cold showers before and I didn't really care for it, but now it's gonna bring the awareness back to me. So I'm going to try the cold showers again, and I'm sure this time I may have a different experience with it.
Yeah. So I want to just bring the conversation back, if I may, to the advantage of being mentored when you're bringing in change and the importance of it's like if you're planting something, if you just plant a seed and then it doesn't get the water and the sun and the rain that it needs, and the food, the nutrition, it's going to die. Weeds will grow. And it's the same with our brains. If we just plant one seed, but we continue to think negative thoughts and we don't change our habits and our patterns, the change is not going to be sustainable. So that's where people like you and I can be super helpful to people. And I certainly have mentors in my life that I tune in with. And it's just as much as saying, like, you're doing really great, keep going, just to have that reinforcement about how
Mm.
you're showing up in your life. You're challenging yourself, you're continuing to show up online, share your offers in a simple way that is resonating with your ideal people. And that is, I think, a key message for all your entrepreneurial or would-be entrepreneurial viewers.
For sure. I can't agree more. For absolutely, I have mentors, lots of mentors over the years, whether it were like online books, personally. I had business coaches. And that's for more reasons than one, because it's hard to see yourself because you're in situation another person, especially number one, they already been where you want to go, but also they can see from outside in, and you may have lots of blind spots, and you can. And then also it's for accountability, because at the end of the day you need to say, it's almost like I have a homework I gotta do. So and it keeps you comfortable.
We all have those times where we just, maybe eat too much of a beautiful meal, or, we might get a bit of backache because we were binge watching the latest Netflix show. Like, we're human, we all do it. It's not about requiring perfection. It's just about going, okay, well, like, where to next, and trusting your intuition, and trusting that the more you show up in that way, the more that you're going to generate that magic and get that results that you want to see. And it's interesting that I'm talking to you today because I'm about to go after this call to a dear friend's 80th birthday celebration, and he continues to teach yoga. He continues to cook for friends.
Mm.
He continues to ride his bike and be an inspiration for his community.
Mm.
So that's my goal, and I'm sure that's yours as well, Jeannie, to continue
Yes.
to just show up, support your community. And that requires us to be healthy and balanced. And the more we can do that, if we don't use it, we lose it. And that's true of every facet of our lives, whether it be our brain or our sexuality or our, our I guess the ability to which we can, like you were saying before, the plasticity, the neuroplasticity of the brain,
Mm-hmm.
and how easily we can change.
Well, yeah, we sure can try different things. When you said you have a friend that you're going to a birthday party, 80 years old, well, remind me of I Bob Young was on Jeannie's Way, and he is, I don't know if you're familiar. He is Neil's young uh, older brother. 81 years old, he wrote his first book, and he's still perfecting his goal for a game of golf. And he's writing his second book, and now that's inspiration. I mean, I love it. It's like you're never learning. You're learning, creating.
Exactly. So it's important to have good role models. We've mentioned mentoring, we've mentioned the work that you and I both do. And that means looking at your friends, looking at your family and going, you know what? I only want aligned people that are aligned with my goals in my life. Because otherwise, if you do your best and you've got a spouse that keeps belittling you and telling you you're crap and you're never going to succeed, like, he needs to get on board or she needs to get on board. Or, you need to consider, like, I would suggest considering at least the kind of messages that you're getting from everyone in your life, and just being, don't be afraid to be strong with your boundaries and invite more of what you want in, and that
Mm.
way you'll get it.
Mm. Boundaries are so important. And one of those things that I don't want to call it New Year's resolution, but one of the things I've been working on the last couple of years in trying to learn to say no to things that are not getting me where I wanted to be, not helping me be the person I want to be, spending more time and saying yes to things that help me to be who I wanted to be.
That's
That could be
brilliant.
writing books at 81 and play and singing and dancing and having a good time.
At any age, Jeannie, at any age, my strong intention is to leave my body consciously smiling with my loved ones around me.
That's
So
great.
that's our birthright. It's possible for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And
And experiencing pleasures. That's one of the biggest things that you're an expert.
there's so many ways we can experiencing pleasure. It could be just looking at a flower, or looking at a child or a pet.
Painting.
Relationship, exactly. The artworks, the space, what we have around us.
What I've noticed, what I also noticed, that people that looking for beauty, they will find the beauty.
Exactly. Too right, Jeannie.
What's next for Kim?
So I am off to this birthday party with my mum, who is nearly 81, and she's one of my biggest inspirations. So she lives in an arts eco village and has continued to show up and lead her community. Even now, she gets out there and is a neighbourhood group leader. She was farm coordinator for 12 years, and she still continues to share her knowledge and get out there and grow beautiful fruits and vegetables, and has been such an inspiration for me. So whenever I'm ill, I know that mum will have, because she's a trained naturopath, she will have exactly the remedies I need, usually in her cupboard, or she'll tell me what to get if I'm somewhere else. So it feels like, so that's what I'm doing next immediately. And other than that, I'm opening up my calendar for one-to-ones, taster sessions for free, at least for this month. And my book is available, Confessions of a Tantric Lawyer, on Amazon. I'm promoting my book. I'm promoting my services. I'm continuing to show up in as many forums as I can, and to just ask, how can I help, and tell people who I am.
That's good. Kim, if money is not matter, what would you be doing now?
Sorry, what was that?
If the money is not an issue, which is probably not for you, will you be doing the same thing you do now?
Absolutely.
Because you're loving it, don't you?
Absolutely. I love practicing law as well, and I love learning about First Nations culture. So I will be doing that as well. I'll be weaving that into my life.
Anything you want to add? Any 3 to 5 big takeaways for you that listeners should take it with them?
Breath, beauty, alignment, hot and cold showers, and pleasure. Invite more pleasure. Whatever gives you pleasure.
Mm-hmm. To me, be well balanced. Look at all of the areas of your life, and
Absolutely.
be open to new things and try new things, and be more playful. That will brings it back to pleasure.
Too right. Too right. Can't believe we've actually been on this call for nearly an hour and a half. I feel like we could probably talk all day, Jeannie.
Yeah, I think so too, because our energy aligns.
It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure to connect with you.
Such a pleasure to connect with you, and I can't thank you enough for being here. And anything else you want to add? Be great to have that.
Hopefully my links will be attached to this video, and my website, thetantriclawyer.com. Get in touch, have a chat, and many blessings.
I'm still, me too. I'm still fascinated how you connected tantric energy with the lawyer's practice, which those two are like. I'm still like, the first time I looked at it, I was like, how can you even combine that? But the way you combine the term, but the skills and the knowledge that you acquire in two areas is what makes it so unique. And I like the uniqueness is your superpower, and you are a prime example of that.
Thank you. And just quickly before we finish, I just want to say that I've got a special package called Dare to Divorce, which is for people who I feel that having been a child of divorce and doing family law for 35 years, it's one of the most traumatic things we can experience. Like it can be worse than someone dying, actually. And that's my specialty superpower. And I've supported people through that to achieve their dream life in America, Hawaii, Northern Hemispheres, things like people who are blocked when they want to make a claim for like child sex abuse. I've had clients that were, had really top coaches, and those clients were in America. So don't feel that me being in Australia should be a barrier or a burden. I'm an early bird, so I like to get up early, and I can suit your time zone with what works for you.
Oh, thank you for all the great work you're doing, and I appreciate you being here, sharing wisdom. And I truly believe people can take some great lessons and wisdom from our conversation today.
Thank you, Jeannie. Much love and blessings to you and your dear producer husband.
Thank
Taking
you.
away in the background. Mwah.
Much love. We'll talk to you soon, and
Lots of love. See you soon. Can't wait to connect again. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And that wraps up today's podcast. My big takeaways are how Kim highlighted the significance of setting boundaries, trying new things, and surrounding yourself with aligned people, as well as discussing the importance of mentoring and empower sustainable change. Don't miss out on future transformative conversations. Hit subscribe on Janie's Way, and let's continue this journey of inspiration together. Until next time, keep crafting your stories and reaching new heights. See you!